very mechanically oriented.
But we said, where did this child come from?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, he almost didn't get there because his mama's put it forward.
Uh-oh.
Okay, here
Stay quiet.
we go.
Big part.
Welcome to the Spalding County Water and Sewage Facilities Authority. It is May 18th, 2022 at 8:30 in the morning. I'd request that everybody please silence your cell phones and all other electronic devices. At this time, I'd like to ask Ms. Wanda Howell to deliver the invocation and Wade Cannon to lead us in the pledge of the flag.
Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for allowing us to gather as members of the Spalding County Water Authority. Please keep us ever mindful that we are here to serve the greater good of the citizens of Griffin, Spalding County. Thank you for giving this opportunity to us. Guide us and direct us in our activities today. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Ms. Howell and Mr. Cannon. At this time, I'd like to request a motion to amend the agenda to move the special committee reports after the financial report.
I'll make that motion.
All right, I have a motion, do I have a second? I have
Second.
a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by raising your hand. 2, 4, 6, 7, 0. Thank you. Motion carries. At this time, I'd like to request a motion to adopt the agenda as amended. All right, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by raising your hand. 7-0. Thank you. Citizen comments.
There are no citizens who have signed up, Mr. Chairman.
All right, I will skip the reading of that. Thank you. Consider approval of the Water Authority's April 2022 regular scheduled meeting. Do I have a motion to approve?
I so move.
I have a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. 7-0. Motion carries. Thank you. Item number 2, consider acceptance of the April 26th, 2022 ad hoc committee meeting minutes. Do I have a motion to accept the April 26th, 2022 ad hoc committee minutes?
So move.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. 7-0. Thank you. Financial report. Consider approval of the financial report as presented by the general manager.
So the report you're looking at is updated as of the end of April. We have a total customer count of 15,172 customers or connections. The revenues are $7.578 million. And as of right now, based on our last 5 years of historical trending, we have 198 days in reserve in the money market account.
Wow. That is pretty fantastic. Thank you to the general manager and to the finance committee for making great news happen. Okay. Is there anything else on the financial report?
No, we're still in the process of trying to tweak a couple of different of the metrics. So right now, we have a total consumption. We're over our budgeted projection, roughly almost 4.5 million gallons. So what I'm trying to do is now build it to show revenues. So we'll just start adding these metrics as we get them in. When I think it's a simple metric on the surface, it's a little more difficult when you try to put it together where it spits out a number automatically. So we're slowly getting there.
It's a slow process, and we understand. Just keep working it. Thank you. Anything else, sir? on
That's
that?
it.
All right. I'm requesting a motion to approve the financial report as presented by the general manager.
Motion to approve.
All right, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by raising your hand. 7-0, motion carries. Thank you. All right, now we're at the special committee report. We're going right into the ad hoc committee on fire hydrant discussion, correct? Looking for everybody.
Yes, planning commission.
Planners,
Planning
Mr.
commission.
Finance.
Okay, excuse me. Planning,
Yes, sir.
planning committee, Fanny?
Yes, thank you,
Miss
Mr. Chair.
Fanny, excuse me.
The planning committee met on May 11th at 3 p.m. in this room. Present was Dick Morrow, chairperson, Fanny Delaney, vice chairperson Ways Cannon, finance chairperson Chair Matlock, general manager Joseph Johnson, attorney Stephanie Wyndham, Griffin Spalding County Development Authority chairman Chuck Copeland, administrative assistant Charlie Hearn, and that was Mr. Mitchell, who was in attendance. There were several items discussed. However, the ones that I thought that were pertinent to this meeting were that, number one, the Pine Tree project has been deferred or referred to Department of Public Health as suggested by Afton Smith consultant and consulting with our general manager. The RFQ submissions was presented earlier at an early meeting at 2 o'clock in the same room with the general manager in attendance. The ad hoc committee results were reported that the ad hoc committee met with Deputy Chief Mike Bird and Glenn Polk and agreed that all future fire hydrants will be purchased by the fire department. But once it's been added, they will become the asset of the Sewer and Water Facilities Authority to be maintained and repaired. The general manager requests that he currently has 5 employees and 5 inmate or helpers, but he needs 2 additional employees to have a more effective operation, and this would be at an additional cost of approximately $120,000. The ad hoc committee, of course, will make a report, I think, at this. However, there were 2 things I think that this, I don't think, I would like to submit for consideration by this board. Number 1 is adoption of a policy for the fire hydrant installations and maintenance. With that in mind, I move that this board adopts a policy that will accomplish this end.
All right, I have a motion. Do I have a second? I have a motion and a second. As a point of discussion here, this is a big decision that's taken a long time to get to, and then all of a sudden, after we got everybody's working and everything else, it's a ho-hum. Okay, we're moving right in to do this. It was a year ago, almost too hard for us to touch. Now, because we all got together, we all talked through it, it is just, okay, that we understand how to do this, everybody's participating, and it is, okay, we're ready to go. So,
Mr. Chairman, for the minutes, could we clarify the motion? Is it to hire, to allow Joseph to hire? I'm sorry, I got a
now,
little bit.
this motion is just about the fire hydrants being, working,
That a policy be established to.
who's going to do the
that-
fire hydrants?
That you maintain the fire hydrants and they become an asset after the fire department purchases them.
All right, just a minute. All right.
Clarification
I need,
from-
General Manager, state the words you want to get in here.
So we need to be very specific. The fire hydrants that the fire department's gonna be responsible for are new hydrants installed on existing lines to meet the 500-foot minimum distance. So if the water authority puts in a water line extension or a water line relocation or upgrade, if there are no hydrants on that line and we need them to meet the development code, the authority is gonna put them in on our behalf. So this is only for new hydrants going on existing lines to meet their maximum distance of 500 feet.
And further discussion,
So,
Mr. Chair.
so I would ask that the board consider allowing us the opportunity to come back to you with a policy that's documented for your consideration.
All right? Let's rescind, the motion, if we could, and the second. And let's give the staff time to come back with a specifically worded
Get the leg-
policy.
Get the legalese in there.
Yes. All right, is that okay with everybody?
sir.
Ms. Fanny? Jeff?
Yes.
Okay. So at this point, we will table this action,
It wasn't an action item on your agenda.
okay?
It was just a report.
All right? We're good with that?
Okay.
Anything else from you, Ms. Fanny?
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry for going all around the circle.
No,
to Get back to
that-
this.
no,
Thank you
clarification's fine,
for,
thank you.
Getting that, all right?
Another, or that we thought that would be, need to come before this board would be the general manager's request for hiring 2 new employees. With
All
that
right,
in
are we
mind,
taking that up now, or are we taking that up later in the agenda?
Later.
Now?
Later.
Later.
We can do it
Later.
in new
It
business.
is later.
Yep.
Okay, we're taking that up later, thank you.
okay,
That's, all right,
okay,
I got that. Thank you for that.
okay, with that in mind, then that was the gist of the meeting.
All right, thank you for the planning committee coming together and doing that. Finance committee?
Finance Committee did not meet this month. We will meet probably next month if y'all decide to address the personnel issues.
Okay. All right. Let me get back to the right place now. All right. Now we're at the item number 8, Water Superintendent's Report. If everybody gets on their right agenda, I'll get it cleaned up here in a minute.
So not much has changed with new projects. We've installed 104 meters. Now, one thing this report's only showing is meters that the Water Authority installs. We're working on getting a report that's gonna show total meter installs. So remember, when a commercial development or industrial customer comes on, they actually install their meters themselves. So we only install meters for residential homes, 3/4 inch and 1 inch. Anything above 1 inch, we do not install ourselves. Total fire hydrants serviced as of last week in May is 404. We flushed over 500,000 gallons of water. And to the water loss summary, I have updated that sheet to show the breakdown per month of where these flushing activities and leaks occur and how much they are. The city has done a great job of getting this information to us at the first of the month. So we are diligently working with them on making sure our information is captured in their report. So going forward, what you see on the fire hydrant flushed report, that's gonna be a component that's already built in to the water loss total. So it's just we're gonna show you our functions and then how it kinda equates to the bigger picture.
Thank you, city, for providing the information to us timely and everything else. It makes it a whole lot clearer for us as we move forward, so thank you all. Okay? Anything else in there that you want to discuss?
That's it.
All right, I'm requesting a motion to approve the water superintendent's report as presented by the general manager.
So move.
Moved, okay. I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Raise your hand. 7-0, thank you. Motion carries. There is no old business. Discussion on funding of the fire hydrant project. That's the thing we've already talked about?
Correct.
It's gonna be we're gonna wait, and you all will bring those exact words to us?
No, this is funding. This is not,
Yeah, so this is just,
Policy, this is funding.
this is specifically talking about funding.
Excuse me, yes.
and if it's in the budget to fund those for this year, then they no longer will need to be funded.
And they're not.
Good.
Yes, ma'am.
The policy we're gonna get the legalese for is for fire hydrants installed on existing lines.
Correct.
Are we gonna do anything with fire hydrants being installed by developers?
Yes,
Have
we're-
we got that dialed in yet?
We're working diligently with the fire marshal and the fire department to make sure that our processes are gonna complement theirs. We had an issue yesterday that arose where this ties into the new positions as well. So, yes, we will start working together to tighten everything.
And now we're not funding the fire hydrants at about $250,000 a year, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we saved $250,000.
Correct.
Let's go to line 2.
Now,
And then it changes.
correct.
All right, now, remember that money that we just talked about savings, because we're going to, okay. Item number 2, consider authorizing the general manager to create 2 new positions as recommended by the planning committee. Let's have the general manager talk about it, and then we'll,
So when my position was established, we took one person that was out in the field and converted it to an office position that's gonna run the day-to-day operation. Well, we're still doing the same workload plus all these new developments that are coming in. When I started looking at the processes that we have in place, we don't really have a good process going forward. So plan review. There's no one that is well-versed in our staff, other than myself, that is technically sound to understand what to look for on a plan. So, the issue that happened yesterday is the engineer was presenting a preliminary plat review. Well, the problem is, it was a development that was pre-approved a couple years ago, and when I asked him about a fire flow test, that's only good for 12 months, he said he didn't know a fire flow test was required. Well, that's because no one held him to it back in the day. So, any development that comes in Sun City, Heron Bay Village, any big development like that is supposed to do a 24-hour flow test and run a fire flow result. If we accept these lines, we've just now assumed the responsibility that everything met code, it satisfied the fire flow demand. So in the event that it doesn't later, we're now on the hook to upgrade it. So it just shows that there's a breakdown in the processes, and it's been I guess it's never been caught up to this point because development hadn't really taken off like it is now. But we're definitely lacking in the technical area. So the people that we currently have on staff, we have a water meter and service installer. We have a fire hydrant and valve maintenance exerciser, and then we have a wastewater operator. Well, the wastewater operator is going to be repositioned and redeveloped into kind of a liaison that will be a go-between the water service installation, meter replacement, and the fire hydrant and valve exerciser. But anytime there is a hiccup where Public Works accidentally hits a fire hydrant and knocks it over, if all our people are deployed and they can't get off their job, we're SOL. So there's a lot of things that are happening where we're just not staffed to respond in a timely manner. And when people are on vacation, things cease to happen. If people are sick, we're deferring our issue later down the road. So we do have a staffing problem. So my recommendation, what I'm asking the board to approve is to hire I want to be very generic with the term, but it'll be a water system supervisor and a utility coordinator, where the intent is the supervisor is going to manage the staff over at the Public Works facility, for the day-to-day operations on meter installations, fire hydrant maintenance, work on inventory, do work order inputs, and then the utility coordinator is going to work out of this office and be kind of the liaison between the plan review process from beginning to end, will oversee the inspection of the construction efforts, because right now we're not inspecting anything. The only time we show up is when they ask for a pressure test, or when they're tapping our line, if they call us. If they don't, we don't know about it. So we need to start bridging these gaps and closing the holes.
You need to
So-
make sure it's getting done right.
Correct. Because unfortunately, if we accept the line, we've said it met all our specifications, and we don't know if they are or not.
Okay, this is a big HR issue on job descriptions. Ms. Gwynn is not here, who would usually carry this conversation. We're not at that point yet. We're just authorizing or reviewing to get to the point where we're saying, yes, bring us forth the job descriptions and everything else.
Correct, the need is not only the job descriptions, but the pay scale as well, so that we can bring back to the board for a budget amendment for next year to hire these 2 additional people.
Okay.
So, Mr. Chair, and Dr. Ledbetter, so are we saying then that this is going to be deferred until such time as those things are done?
I think the request of the general manager is that you authorize the 2 positions for us to move forward with bringing back to the board the job descriptions and the pay requirements, because it's going to take us a week or so to get all of that material together for you, but we do need to move forward with it. If you approve the adoption of the job descriptions and the pay for the 2 new positions in the June meeting, we could immediately thereafter open it up for Joseph to move forward with hiring.
How long has our current staff been here?
So, the average tenure, I want to say is, well, if you take Charlie and myself out, is probably 15 years. We have one that's going to come up for retirement. He originally told me he wasn't going to retire until next April. That's getting escalated to August of this year. So I'll be meeting with the Planning and Finance Committee before our June meeting to discuss kind of my thoughts on how we should proceed with that. Because if he leaves, we'll stop installing water services, because he's the only one that can run a tractor right now.
So we need
Are
a
these 2
small role.
positions, do they need to be hired or approved before June?
I have draft job descriptions. I would like to get the input from the board to kind of make sure we're all on the same page and doing this in tandem with one another. Based on my just research, I think these 2 jobs could be filled for roughly $125,000 total. But unfortunately, with the market being the way it is, I think we really need to nail down the job descriptions to be very specific, but to show the intent, but they will be wearing multiple hats, just like we all do.
$120,000, is that salary only, or is that salary plus benefits?
That is just salary only.
So it's gonna be about $200,000.
Remember the money we just saved?
Yeah.
All right.
So we're still 50 to the good then, probably.
Can you wait till our June meeting to approve the job descriptions and, okay?
Correct. Yes.
So, what's the right motion here? We need a motion to tell the staff to go forward to get job descriptions and salary and bring them back to us by the June meeting?
Yeah, the staff would ask that the board consider approving a job description and salary study for 2 positions that the general manager is requesting in support of the authority.
Okay? Does somebody make that motion? Okay, I have a motion and I have a second. All right, any more discussion on this issue? This is coming back before us, before anything happens, before we do anything. All right, all those in favor signify by raising your hand. 7-0, motion carries. Thank you. Item 10, other business. Update from the general manager on the following, and start through there.
So,
Morning, Ms. Quinn.
as you know, we had an issue with the water line under Jackson Road, at the Kennedy Road intersection. That repair was complete, as of May 11th, and it was overbailed. So what happened was this PVC pipe, as you push on it, you're only supposed to put so much of the pipe in the other pipe. Well, if you overbail it, you're gonna create a stress fracture, and that's exactly what happened. So I think we made the right decision to replace the entire length with ductile, where that will not be an issue going forward. So it was put back into service, and everything's up and running like it should.
Okay,
We will be sending out a doodle poll. I met with Brant and Brandon yesterday regarding the biannual meeting. So the doodle poll is gonna be for the week of July 25th. So as soon as you get that, will you please just, respond so we can get that date set in stone?
what time frame are you looking at?
What we're gonna do is just open up a bunch of blocks of windows. I know that the 26th, the Board of Commissioners for the city has a workshop in the morning, so from 9 to 11, that will be kind of blocked out, but, we're gonna put a lot of different time blocks to choose from.
Yeah, I think looking more towards June to give everybody plenty of time to put their calendar together would be a better issue than trying to do it in the next.
It's July.
July 25th, the week of July 25th.
Okay. We have a date?
No, the doodle poll will go out to allow you the opportunity to choose the week, times between the week of July 25th and July the 28th.
Oh, excuse me, okay, sorry, I missed it, okay.
So, and then the third bullet is the RFQ submission and request. So, three firms showed up to the non-mandatory meeting that was held last week. Just know that, we're expecting 3 statement of qualifications, but because this was a non-mandatory meeting, we could still have more firms that submit. We will need to establish an evaluation committee that will help review the statement of qualifications as they come in by, after the deadline of June 15th.
So, question, Mr. Chairman. So, the review committee should have some expertise in knowing how to look at the proposals, right?
So the proposals are gonna be, yes, ma'am. The short answer is correct. Mainly, the statement of qualifications are gonna be written in a way where it should be written to in layman's terms, where they shouldn't use a lot of technical, acronyms or terminology. So it should be written, and one of the grading metrics is it easily understandable to the non-technical expert? So all they're doing, remember, the statement of qualifications is just the firm putting their best foot forward, saying, hey, this is what we've done. These are projects we've done in the past. This is how we provided an optimal solution, and we're vetting on our understanding of their expertise.
Getting ready to put you on this,
I'll have to ask Ms. Williams one question first.
okay? All right,
It's a resume, basically, for an engineer, is what it says.
Yes, ma'am. Does that answer your question? Okay.
all right, we're going to have I'm gonna appoint, that's probably a strong term, select committee to do this. I would like for those that are interested first to be the ones who stick up their hand and say, okay, I'm willing to do this. For sure, I would like Wade and Jeff to be on this business. Both of you are technically in the business that we're talking about.
I gotta
Mr.
ask,
Chairman, Mr. Morrow wants to, has expressed an interest in
Okay,
participating in
thank
that
you.
as well.
I need to ask Ms. Wyndham a question. All of the engineers present, I've either have worked for, am working for, or probably will work for in the future.
Does that recuse him out of?
It does, yeah.
Okay, all right, so Jeff, for sure, you've got to do that. Okay. Who is,
He would also not, Mr. King, you would also not be able to vote if we were to.
I've had business dealings with all of them.
okay, so that eliminates, Jeff, are you in that situation?
I don't know yet. I'll have to take a look at who those are.
Okay,
I doubt it.
okay.
Best laid plans.
Yeah, that's right. Best laid plans, go. All right, so I need 3 people. Mr. Morrow will be one of those 3. I need 2 more people for sure. I will have as many as you all would like to do it, to be on this select committee. This is a big issue for us. This is, what are we gonna do about sewer? Where is it going? So,
Hopefully Jeff can be on that committee.
okay, Ms. Wanda is one of them.
And hopefully Jeff can be the third.
Does it have to be a member of this board to be on a committee?
No, not the, but I want to get the members from this board, yes. The short answer is no.
Joseph's
If-
gonna be involved in it too, right?
Yeah, Joseph is going to be involved in it. If we have other people that we want to get involved in it, as example, Mr. Upson.
No, he's gonna be he's a proposer, so, yes, my recommendation would be, Brandon and Dr. Keller and Brandon Lewis with the city of Griffin.
All right, and I want board members from here too, besides
Correct.
Mr. Morrow. So I'm looking for, Jeff, if you would check and see if you're okay with being able to do that.
Wanda wanted to be on it.
And Miss Wanda. All right, so from the board, it's Miss Wanda, Jeff, and Mr. Morrow on that. And then general manager and the rest of the folks, okay? We all square with that?
I have a question for Stephanie. If Clay appoints members that are not on the board, if they're appointed, they have a vote on that committee, do they not?
They would have a vote on the committee, yes. So any recommendation that the committee brought forward, they would be allowed.
And then those that are asked to be in there as advisors would be ex officio more or less?
Exactly.
Okay.
Say that again?
If Clay appoints other people beyond here, if he names them to be on the committee, then they have a vote on that committee. If they are asked to be there as ex officio more or less in an advisory capacity only, then it's just like any other ex officio, they don't have a vote on the committee.
All right, do we need anything else other than that? We all good with this? You good with it? You're happy with this? Okay. Moving on, can continue on, please? Oh, excuse me, item number 2, that's all of your other business, correct?
Correct.
All right. Next scheduled meeting will be at June 15th at 8:30, back here in this same thing. I believe there is a meeting following this of the bylaws subcommittee. So, all right, we'll start around,
I have, you skipped one thing. I think it was pretty much covered by Fanny, but I think maybe Jeff may have did he give you the ad hoc report?
I have a copy of it, but,
I mean, we never directly addressed the ad hoc committee.
okay, I'm sorry.
so what do we need to do here?
Well, we pretty much, like I said, Fanny covered it and we made a motion, but it was an official recommendation from the ad hoc committee about the fire hydrants.
Okay,
And I didn't directly speak to Dick about it. so-
Okay. Well, she did exactly what we said. We just completely skipped it when we went down the committee, so I wanted to be sure we got our voice heard, that we did approve that completely.
And I do think, Cheryl, that when Ms. Fanny, she gave both, she separated it. She
Yeah.
said planning and then she said ad hoc.
But she wasn't on the ad hoc, so.
Oh, okay.
Do we need to get a motion from Jeff to rehash what we just did?
No, it doesn't need to be rehashed. I just think that we completely skipped it, and I wanted to be sure that
Yep.
they knew it was a unanimous approval of the ad hoc committee.
okay.
So the ad hoc committee was a committee from the planning committee
No, it was from this board
to do what?
to meet with the fire marshal and the,
Fire hydrant, this was the fire, how we did the fire hydrant, just
Fire
that specific
hydrants, yes.
issue.
Okay.
Buying, maintenance, and all that.
Installing.
All right, at this time, I'm going to, Secretary Treasurer comments.
Just one, if you have not participated in the survey for our comp plan, please do so. Please go to the county website and follow the link to our comprehensive 2042 website and submit your thoughts, comments, and ideas for the comprehensive plan. It's not only important from a county manager's position, but it's also important from the Secretary Treasurer's position for the Water and Sewerage Authority. Thank you very
Did I say
much.
that? Okay. If I didn't say it, the next regular scheduled meeting is June 15th, 2022 at 8:30 in this room. All right, let's go around for member comments. We'll start with Ms. Fanny.
None, thank you.
All right, Ms. Cheryl?
Just note that the bylaws committee is gonna meet at 9:30. I hate that it's
Okay.
gonna have to wait that long, but we do.
Unfortunately, yes. All right. Ms. Wanda, any comments? Jeff?
No comments.
Jim? Vice Chair?
I feel like I should throw a wrench into something, but no comments.
A couple comments, Ms. Gwynn?
Yes, I do have some comments, and I apologize for being late to the meeting. I'm not sure how this should work, but it is vital, after we had a meeting yesterday, a planning meeting for, the comprehensive plan, that I feel like a lot of the plans that are being made are plans that directly would affect us as a water authority, especially when it starts talking about economic development, which areas of the county we're gonna have growth in. I think that it's kind of hard, for example, for us to say, yes, we need to have some growth at northern Spalding County on 19 and 41, but there's no sewer infrastructure there. There's nothing that would attract anyone for economic growth, and they're talking about this in the comprehensive plan, but the water authority is not there at the table saying, we're planning to go that way, or might be willing to look at sewer, or we might be willing to talk to some cities. So I think it's huge that somehow the water authority needs to weigh in heavily on anything that we're talking about in the comprehensive plan that has to do with growth and infrastructure being in place. So I don't know how that can happen, but we're rounding the curve on the 66% of the plan being completed. And if we don't if the Board of Commissioners creates a plan that makes us a vital part of it, and we haven't agreed to that, what good is having a plan if you don't have the infrastructure underneath to make it happen?
I completely agree with everything you just said. I did go to one of the meetings and kind of took over the table as the Blue Cypress people alternated around, and I explained to each Blue Cypress person that their plans were great and all that, but they didn't have the sewer, they didn't have the water, and it was all in the works, and they need to take that into account. Hopefully, they have captured that whenever they give the final report.
You're
to
on
you.
you're on the.
I'm on the steering committee.
Steering committee.
Hopefully, they
Well, I'm
captured
on the
that.
steering committee too.
Yes, yes. I want to make sure that
But
we,
getting down to the grindstone, and I think we have our third steering committee meeting next week.
Yes, ma'am.
The plans that are being made are great on paper, but if you don't have what it takes to pull it together beyond that, and I mean, I know that the city is doing their comprehensive plan, but several of the areas that we're talking about changing the plans to are gonna directly affect the city. Will the city annex those people? Will the city have sewer capacity for development in areas that we're saying we want to be more dense? They may not. So I just think that it's important that this doesn't get locked in ink before our part of it is explained. What we're willing to do, what we're capable of doing, how, if we can do anything. So, that's my biggest concern today, and I don't think that it's been fully addressed. And I don't want this report, because once they do finish the report is finished. That's the job we asked them to do. Then if we go back in trying to change stuff because nobody put water in, yeah,
Big waste of money is what it's gonna turn out to be, yeah.
yeah.
okay. The county manager understands that, made a comment to me. We will re-energize the general manager into Blue Cypress to make sure that those things are as much as we know now. You know, we don't know what we're gonna do with sewer yet. That's what they are.
And I guess you weren't at the planning meeting yesterday, but Steve can update you on basically what the map looked like that we were there's no potential for what we're asking for, what we're hoping to make in the plan, as opposed to us saying, okay, we wanna do something commercial out on 92, right at the county line. Well, how you gonna do it? You don't have any infrastructure or even plans for it, so.
Okay?
Can I say something?
This is,
So one thing that we discussed in that RFQ meeting was the fact that where Spalding County was at with the comprehensive plan update, by the time a consultant is picked, that plan's gonna be pretty much on its way of being developed, where there's gonna be a good draft that they're gonna be able to use as kind of like a basis of saying, okay, this is what the end game looks like. These are the corridors that you picked for us to analyze. This is how we best facilitate making that become a reality. So we've versed the consultants to say, hey, this is the current plan. This is the data that you're gonna have available. So we will work the Spalding County's comprehensive plan update into our sewer feasibility, with the caveat of, if the consultant's approach is gonna, it could be where a recommendation is to say, hey, if this is gonna be a reality, you're gonna need to possibly modify your land use in these areas. So that is my fear, is there could be some minor modifications that would have to be done at a later date in the event that our feasibility report shows something a little tweaked. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and in response to that, one of the things that we kind of discovered yesterday, or I discovered, was that the area of Spalding County that is just below Heron Bay, right at the county line.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, obviously, we all can see that there is fixed to be something huge built there. And then apparently there is going to be something huge built on the other side of the street, and there will be some residential and commercial. However, the way that the plan was being written up was that that was gonna be neighborhood something, low density, not a lot of building. So we had to go and change the plan because we know that that's what it's gonna be. Even though initially people said we wanna keep this green and low density. Well, are they getting water from Henry County? Are they gonna be getting water from us? Will they require sewer? And if they get sewer, will somebody next to them want sewer? We need to be in the mix, so that's.
Correct.
Yeah. Just get in where you can fit in.
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to make a comment that is just a little off. This is an internal county issue. Every Friday afternoon, specifically, I think it's 3 o'clock, the group that works for the county manager gets in here and goes over every planning request that's coming up. And the fire, water, you name it, they're in here, about 20 of them, and they all get to talk through each issue. The general manager is there to be able to guide his portion on the water thing. It's really just, I think, 5 months into doing this. But this is how the county makes sure that the water authority stuff is inputted into the plans that are going on. And if you sit through one of them, there's a number of people who get pretty verbose in trying to do this, and it's all about our raising the bar. The fire says we're gonna do this, and this is what's gonna happen here, and how it's gonna be done, and we're gonna drive that to the developers. Water the water authority talks about, hey, we've got an issue here, how to do this. So it is moving in that direction, and that's how we get everything working, and the county manager pulls it all together to be able to do that. So good pat on the back for the county manager doing this. It is new planning, community development director's job to pull this all together. And we're excited about how it's all coming together. So thank you for that, county manager, in pulling that together. All right, Ms. Gwynn, anything else? Okay, thank you. 2 issues for me. One issue I've just covered, the planning. Second issue, I was sitting on the Board of Health and talking about my concern about septic tanks and how we're starting to see problems with septic tanks. Board of Health says we don't see that. We're not seeing any complaints of septic tanks basically coming in. One came in the last month and a half, 2 months. Before that, it's been 3 or 4 or 5 months before another one. I believe we have septic tank issues throughout our community. If you're finding out about septic tanks, the problems, we need to make sure that those are being driven towards the county marshal, chief marshal, and that he will get those into the Board of Health, who takes care of septic tank problems, to get the homeowners to do the right thing for us. So it may be that I am just off on problems with septic tanks. I don't think so. I see septic tanks every time I turn around that are percolating to the top and not doing the right kinds of things. So we need to kind of watch that ourselves. All right?
Chairman, but go ahead, Brent.
Septic tanks, let me take you back in history. Now, they require redundancy of 2 leaching fields. Prior to, I don't know what that date is, I think you're spot on. My next door neighbors had nothing but problems with grinder pumps, pumping stuff uphill because they didn't have redundancy for, so you gotta go back in history and say, you know, there was a demarcation, and prior to that, you only had to have 1 leaching field. It's not always been the fact, believe me. I've built in 1993 here, and I only had to have 1 leaching field. And that's the problem you're gonna have with your heavy years of, and I'll address drought here in a minute, but when you have a wet year, that's when you're gonna feel the pain when the groundwater comes up and you don't have a redundant area for an additional leaching field. So there is potential there. You have to look at the whole picture.
So everybody be looking, paying attention. We've got to start moving towards the septic tank business issue. It's a health issue for us, and it's something that falls, as far as I'm concerned, directly under our purview.
Mr. Chairman, I think there's a lot of room for public education as well. I mean, people buy homes, some of them will say, I didn't even know I had a septic tank, having done closings for 25 years. I've seen things where they've never pumped a septic tank in 20 years. They didn't even know they had one. So there's a lot of room for education out there.
Yeah, I agree with that. In fact, Monday of this week, Kelly Littlefield, our new community development director, and I spent some time talking about this issue specifically. We've engaged our citizen engagement specialist to do an education video for how to not just build your new home with your septic system, but how to maintain that system for the future. And that is a huge opportunity for our community, that education piece. So
There are many, I dare say there are many septic systems out there that were permitted and approved for plans that included fewer folks that live in the house than actually do currently live in the house, whether that's because the house has been added onto or just because the developer wasn't exactly honest.
And we can talk about DeAndre doing that, and we may end up having to ask the city to put a mailer inside of their.
Did you do that on purpose?
I guess the Lord doesn't like
It's
that.
almost 9:30, Cheryl.
That's right. We're supposed to stop now.
Whew, okey dokey.
I agree with Dr. Keller.
Scared me to
My
death.
mom's house is on Bourbon Street, and the only time, and she's been there, I'm sure, her house has been there 50 years. And I believe maybe 3 times she's had her septic tank pumped out. But the neighbors next door to her who live up the hill, when it rains a lot, the whole area just smells, just like the ground got full. So we're not gonna, in this weather that we're having right now, we're not gonna see complaints about the septic tank. But all that being said, I'm saying, we reported her know that you're not just supposed to put some lye or whatever it is people put outside. It's a health issue, and we need to bring it to people as a health issue. Not that it's something that's gonna help us, something that's gonna help people and health.
Chief Marshal, for us, get it to the Chief Marshal. If you can't do it any other way, get it to the county manager, he'll get it to the Chief Marshal. Chief Marshal will get it to the Board of Health, and the lady who does it there will take care of it. She's very good at it, she knows what she's doing, it's just a matter of getting it. She is complaint-driven only. So if we don't tell her, she doesn't do anything about it. All right, that's all I had. Any last-minute comments before I ask for a motion?
I have one.
Oh,
I have two. The first thing is, I wanna edify what Gwen said. I was at the first CT meeting, I've attended a couple virtually. Specifically put things on the record at that meeting that the water system and the wastewater system for the city of Griffin needs to be involved or contacted when they get to a certain milestone in their process. They have not done that. And the point that I'm gonna make to you about that is, yeah, we have plenty supply. We have 25.2 million gallons of water a day. Depending on what they say growth is gonna be, we need to understand that even though Still Branch can produce 12.0 MGD a day, the lines that come back to the city of Griffin are at best 10.9. So we need to be part of what they're saying they're gonna do, because you're gonna need to put in your 10s and your 12s. We may sometime, 2030, whatever, are gonna have to plan for a very expensive pipeline. I spent the magnitude of $17 million in 2005 for that pipeline, okay? And that was with only acquiring 80 parcels of property, okay? And so the issue is, on this one, there is no public right-of-way coming back from Still Branch. The entire pipeline, I would say 80% to 90%, we would have to go into acquisition of property to put that a second pipeline coming into the city of Griffin. So that is one critical. The second point I want to make is y'all know we haven't had any rain, okay? Now, I'm not the prophet of doom, but what I do want to tell you is all our contracts with our wholesale customers say you have to follow our protocol in the time of EPD, regulations, drought, what have you. I just want to be mindful to you that if we have an extended drought, you know what happens, well, you probably don't know, you know, this is the year that Coweta comes on from 3.0 MGD to 5.0 MGD. So that puts a bigger demand on the system. I've been in touch, have a phone call with Jay Bourne now over at Coweta. But the point that I want to make is you're talking, it doesn't take very long, 30 to 35 days to have a flash drought with no rain. And what we are anticipating, we've spent $20,000 on a program called Oasis, and they modeled both reservoirs so we can make intelligent decisions, it's probability statistics. But anyways, I just want to kind of give you heads up, if this pattern keeps going, and we've looked at the pattern for rain over the next 90 days, you can get they said 16 to 18 hurricanes, but if you don't have one of consequence hit land like they did last year, most of those hurricanes went straight up the Atlantic between Europe and us, we could be in a situation, and we will trigger first in relation to amend the state water plan and the drought management plan, because we know how our system works. So I just wanted to make you aware that it don't fall on your sword or anything right now, but potentially if this weather keeps going, we are 100% capacity of both reservoirs right now, okay? So no big deal. It don't take but about 35 days, and all of a sudden I'm down 6 feet, it still rains. So that's all I'm saying. And I can tell you, yesterday, we did 10.5 MGD, we're usually around 8 to 8.7, somewhere in that magnitude, so the train's coming. And of course, y'all need to thank me, my water bill will be close to $1,000 this month because I have the water I put in these salads, but anyways, we're good. I just wanted to kind
Thank
of
you.
give you that picture.
I hadn't thought about it, so thank you for saying that to us. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Upson, while we're having all the comments from the chairs out there, have you got some comment you'd like to make? Okay, dokie. All right, last minute comments? All right, all those, excuse me, can I have a motion to adjourn? All right, I have a motion. Do I have a second? I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All those in favor signify by raising your hand. 8-0. Thank you. We're
We'll be
adjourned.
back in here in 5 minutes.
See, it worked
If you're
out
on
good for
bylaw
you.
committee.
Worked out
Clear
just-
that gap for me.